came across this observation of the South Australian order. The order is fast becoming moribund. We are living in changing conditions. What was once considered ample and adequate is perhaps today quite out of date and inadequate, and we are not doing for the Catholic laity what we set out to do. Now, they're not my words, they're the words of one of our founding members when he was addressing, Leo Chavez, when he was addressing the annual state conference in 1941. So it looks as though it's either deja vu or it's always like that. Our problem at the moment, if we call it a problem, and you can look at it in lots of different ways. In 1969, from 1969, we've seen a negative growth in membership, and this negative trend has continued every single year since. At that time, the average attendance at general meetings had dropped to 20%, and average financial membership stood at 54%. At that time, 55 years ago, there were 15 metropolitan branches and 16 country branches, and a membership of 1,818. However, given a 20% attendance, this means that only 363 would have been properly active. Now, in 2024, there are 236 members spread over 8 metropolitan branches and 7 country branches. Nationally, it is a similar state of affairs. If you consider the membership of each of the 5 states as a percentage of that state's population, then South Australia has the second highest membership in Australia, but has the third lowest actual number of members. Raw numbers as of March last year, in order of percentage of population, were Western Australia 280, South Australia 263, Victoria 572, Queensland 398, Tasmania 33, and New South Wales 121. So it's not all doom and gloom, and there's something to be said for the numbers that we have now are perhaps not that much, in terms of active members, not that much less than it's been previously. But we do need new members. There's nothing we can really do about exiting members because it's through old age and death. So we can't halt that. What we need to do is bring up new members, so we need new blood into the order. And the purpose of today is to share the ideas around from the different branches, what you're doing, what's been working, what's not been working, and what assistance would you need, or what assistance can you give. One of the questions that we're always asked is, what do we do? And I think the sort of knee-jerk response is often, we founded the Southern Cross Care, nearly 60 years ago now. But recently we did a survey, and I thank Michael Galea for organising that and coordinating it. And that survey has actually shown that there's 25 parish lay ministries and parish support activities were undertaken by individual knights, a total of 344 times over last year, and a total of $66,000 was raised between all branches, and of that, 56,000 was donated to 36 various needy community groups and local projects. So it's showing that we're still very active in supporting the parishes, and particularly in fundraising and contributing to those 36 various organisations around. It's quite a detailed survey. This is just a summary, and I'll publish it in Nightlife, contributions to which are due on Tuesday. and so you'll have a decent look at that. So really, as I said, I've got half an hour here, and I'm not intending to lecture for half an hour. I would now invite you to share any insights you have in your membership drives or challenges in your own branches. Would anyone like to start that off?
I have a speech.
Stuart, a speech, excellent. Do you want to come forward? Okay.
The Knights in their present form are teetering on the brink of destruction. We are a 20th century organisation in a 21st century world. It is high time we started evolving into a modern organisation. It is not 1919 anymore. The original mandate upon which the Knights were founded to act as an advocacy group for Catholic men facing discrimination is no longer a tenable one. Times have changed.
Speak out of it.
Oh, okay. Times have changed and we must be willing to change with the times. Let me put it more succinctly. Unless radical changes are made, the Knights will go bankrupt, lose the few remaining members it still has, and cease to exist. Let's begin with our present financial situation. We are hemorrhaging money. Our situation is so dire, we must sell raffle tickets so poor Catherine can keep her job. The Knights need to look for opportunities to increase its annual revenue. We may be a Catholic brotherhood, but we're also a not-for-profit organisation. We need to start thinking like a business. Then there are our structural problems. Changes need to occur at every level. Head office needs to start acting like leaders. They need to provide direction and guidance. Serious thought needs to be given to the leadership positions that ought to be created, retained, eliminated and amalgamated. Head office needs to determine what kind of relationship it wants to have with the various branches. It needs to identify where new branches can be established and where old branches should be merged. Likewise, we need a common goal. We need something that can be broken down into smaller components and that is tangible and measurable. We also need a strong marketing and public relations strategy. Christ's injunction not to boast about your good works is noble for individual acts of charity. But when you are a public organisation, which the Knights are, you must be willing to court public attention. That which goes unnoticed quickly vanishes into the ether. If no one knows who we are and what we do, we cannot expect anyone to support us. It is now time for a bit of shameless self-promotion. We should be pursuing positive relationships with the community, including other not-for-profit organisations and religious institutions, the business community, local councils and state and federal politics, to name but a few. We should also work with the local community rather than separately from it. We should pursue relationships with state and local media. When the Knights achieve something, we want the community to know about it. Finally, there is the problem of dwindling membership members. The reality is that our current members are getting older, going into aged care and dying off. I think this is reflective of two problems. The first is a trend in Catholic worship overall. Less young people go to church now than ever before. There is little we can do about that. The second is that our present membership structure is woefully inadequate. At this present moment, membership is open to any Catholic male who attends Mass regularly and has reached the age of majority. We are missing a lot of opportunities with this structure. For example, why isn't there a junior division of the Knights for Catholic boys? Why isn't there a division called the Dames of the Southern Cross, in which women could attend their own female-only meetings, collaborate with the male Knights of the Southern Cross in certain projects, and attend functions with the rest of the organisation? The blunt truth is that the Knights in their present form are no longer necessary. If the Mount Barker Strathalbyn branch or to excise itself from the main body, it will still be able to survive with little to no consequence. Please understand, I do not wish for the Knights to collapse. I quite like being a Knight. I am merely trying to make the point that the Knights need to make themselves invaluable. It's high time we realise that merely praying for something will not magically make it happen. We must be willing to do what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. That was certainly food for thought there. Now, would anyone else like to comment or share some thoughts? You can do it from where you sit or come up here with Michael.
I'll do it for deer if I can do it.
Yeah.
Last night I started thinking of 100 years. I know I've been told about about 40 years ago. But 100 years ago, the Knights found a need. And that was unemployment and helping captain families. 60 or 50, 60 years later, we found a need at a conference where somebody asked the question, what do we do for our older members? Hence was born Southern Cross Homes, and Peter Taylor went mad after that, travelling back and forth all touch to Canberra for 490 minutes. Come on a bit further, and we have reached our centenary back here 3 or 4 years ago, 2 years ago. Now, we now have another dilemma. And 8 years ago, Archbishop Wilson tried to put together a committee to housing the homeless. Now, Southern Cross Homes is already experienced in building. We got that there, and then now Southern Cross Care. What I was thinking about was basically Southern Cross Homes could be reinvented to go into this housing the homeless, and we pulled together the other groups in the diocese, and I'd like to go and talk to the Archbishop about that. But they're the things I was thinking of last night, and I just thought, well, they're things we could be doing, and that Southern Cross Homes in 1960s, 70s, we were always had a sign on it, every home unit had a name, and underneath that home unit was one line, a project of the Knights of the Southern Cross. And that, from my experience, was one of the best growing areas that we had for the Knights. And I think that we could do that all over again and start to regrow. And I think that, this is a steward there, we need to rebirth and to start to regrow. And I would put that as one of my suggestions for how to do it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So we've sort of outlined the problems that we have. Is anyone doing things in their branch that has proved successful in either in reinvigorating the branch or getting new members?
We've started a program at the Town Clinton branch with the help of Mike Boyle, thank you Mike, to be proactive in promoting the Knights. We're going to go to the Parish Pastoral Council, do a presentation there, get their permission to get involved with the parish. But we've done a bit of a survey in our church. We don't have a lot of men in each of the 3 masses that we have, but we're going to give it a go and see what we can get out of it in relationship to even just a few, 1 or 2 would be great to improve our numbers in relationship to our membership. So we've got that go. Michael's going to come along and help talk to us, talk at the Parish Pastoral Council and talk at the masses. I think that's a big plus. I think the big plus, someone who knows the Knights better than myself, even though I've been a member for a long year, understand what our branch does. It's good that someone's coming along from the State Council and talking and able to talk in a good, clear manner to the parish and to the members to see what we can actually bring into our group.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Paul, part of when we've been going to TV Gilbert, we're going to 2020, and initially we had with Don, we had great success. But recently, in the last couple of years, we've had a few people dropping off, whether through shifting accommodation. We had one member fortunate with us for 6 months, went to Perth for work commitments. And that's what I'm finding now as a group, losing more, unfortunately, without gaining. Because of work commitments, financial commitments, and that's, I think, how should we stop that exodus? Going back to that, I don't think we can do much about that when it's work or family or financial. But the recruiting I'm finding is very hard to. Our parish in the last probably 5 years, the nationalities have changed. We have a lot more Indian people, a lot more Filipino people. I suggested some time ago, and I don't know whether the state council would like to consider it, is the information sheet that we put out is English. Maybe we should have something in that a different language, because I know married to an Italian family, and I was talking to my father-in-law. We could talk English, that's fine, but understanding the dialect or the concept of what you're actually trying to say doesn't come across the same thing. So maybe in that promotional leaflet we hand out that we ask people to join or consider, is we put something in their own, whether it's Vietnamese, Filipino, Indian, maybe that the older go, as we all understand, we're an older, most of us would be all retired. I'd say 98% of the outgoing members would be retired personnel. So, but inviting a retired person of 65 who may still be talking in their own groups, but they don't understand the concept of the nitty-gritty of what you're actually trying to present to them. That's just a thought.
Yeah, that's a good thought, and it's certainly, I hear different stories about who's going to Mass. I know the Mass centres in Salisbury are really quite busy, not maybe as busy as they were, but the predominant population of those Mass centres is now, we used to call them New Australians, new arrived people in Australia from Africa and Asia in particular, and trying to make inroads into those communities. I guess we haven't done very well, and that's certainly something that we need to look to, because that's where the church-going population is really. The Anglo-Celts that are going to Mass now are my age, and older actually. Okay. So has anybody else got further comment?
Yeah. I haven't even actually spoken to the people in my own branch about this, but last night I went to a meeting and had a sudden inspiration, so I thought I might just share it with you. Whether it's going to work or not, I might just go down the screaming jet and crash, but I was thinking what we need to do in the night, we need to get into people's homes, find some way of getting into their homes. I'm not saying physically ourselves, but get our message into the homes. And I looked at this. What's that?
Placemat.
Placemat. Where's that normally found? In the kitchen, in the dining room, on the table. Most houses have them. I would think so anyway. Why can't we find some way of getting something like a placemat, which is in everybody's home? Now, what do you do when you're supposed to do before you have your meal? You give thanks, don't you? You're supposed to say grace. You give thanks. I wonder how many times that happens in the homes of our parishioners.
Really?
And I was thinking, maybe to help the kids out, you could make up a placemat and you put a little grace on there, simple little grace, give thanks, grace. Give thanks to God that you're alive, you're a marvellous family, got fantastic food to eat. You give thanks and you have that on your placemat. And I was thinking, well, that probably could possibly work. And you may not want to have grace on there, you might want to have something like perhaps some, might be perhaps some Bible verses, possibly, some very relevant Bible verses on there. And I thought, if I was going to somebody's house and I had a place down in front of me like that, and I could read that, I'd be, wondering why they didn't say grace, because it's right in front of you. So that was my thought. It was just an inspiration I had at the time. And I would think probably we could probably have these made up, placemats with whatever we want to have on it. And of course you have a little emblem of the Knights at the bottom, which would say compliments of the Knights of the Southern Cross. So people in every house who took one of these home would then see that and think, oh, those are the Knights, yeah. You might have some contact details there too. They could contact us, the parents, the men, the women. They could say that, oh, the Knights, they do this sort of stuff, that's good. We'd like to follow that up. And so they can do so. They've got the information there and it's going to be in their home. I don't know how much it's going to cost to make those up, but I envisioned what you could do. You could probably make them free, hand them out after Mass, have them in the foyer of the church and let people take them home. Or you might want to have a donation system where they could be donated. I reckon with our branch, I'm going to put it to our branch at the next meeting and just see how that goes. And I'd like to try something like that just to see if it works. If it doesn't work, well, at least we'll try it. Okay? That's my thoughts on it. I don't think there's anything else. No, that's probably the main things I wanted to say. Thank you.
And that, of course, goes to our second object, fostering a Christian way of life throughout the nation. So, that's good. Anyone else like to...
Everything leads back to advertising, one way or another, and I think that's where we're falling down. We were once a secret society, and it hasn't seemed to have moved too far away from that. And we need to be out front, because you get the situation where people will say to you in the parish, for example, I will support you provided you put the funds back into the parish. Well, we're not here to finance the parishes. We're here to assist, but not to be their financiers. So we have to be a bit wary about that as we go. But still, this would be a good idea as far as publicity goes, if we can find a means of getting it up without going broke. Because that is a big cost factor.
Yes, that's right.
But the idea is terrific.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to make a comment? I'm particularly interested to hear what you're doing in your branches that's proving useful or even not.
I'd just like to add a few words.
So thanks, Gary.
Without any real knowledge of things. I'm a late member of the organisation, and I thought for so long why there wasn't some contact made with a person like me who had always been active in so many things. And I thought, well, my personality is probably in it. But it seems to me that the so-called secretness of the organisation dominating the thoughts that I have. I can't see why every male that goes to Mass can't be approached in some way, and out of it we would get some members, and I'm sure they'd be worthy. It's just a matter of making up your mind how you're going to do it. And I thought the suggestion on the placemat was well worthwhile. I think that something like that would be a shot in the arm, a real encouragement to people. And I really endorse having a go at that and try to find a new way of getting members into the organisation.
Thanks, Gary.
Good words, Harry.
David, were you wanting to say
No,
something?
just give me, you've got 2 minutes left for the score.
Oh, I thought I had 12 minutes. Haven't I gone till 1:15? Okay, I'm happy. So, no further comments? Definitely.
Okay.
So we'll move on to the next section. I think you've all got the agenda in front of you. So I now invite David Lloyd to talk about the national plan and how that's been done and how it affects us. Thanks, David. I should say that David is also our Deputy Supreme Knight, as well as being the Deputy Chairman of the State Council, and it's been quite good.
Thank you, Paul. Friends, my purpose this morning is to, I guess, introduce the Border Development Manual. Does everyone have a copy of this, or it's so if you require a copy, you could either ring Catherine and leave your name and contact, and I'll get one to you. But it's a great document that has been produced nationally, and Brother Don was on that committee with our development officer, I forgot his name. Hennessy. He sends up new emails up, but so that's well worth going through. Our estate plan is something again that Don has developed. My branch of Durnancourt currently in the process of working through that plan, and Don has done a great job in a checklist. We've just got to get a time now to sit with the parish priest. Unfortunately, he doesn't come to our meetings. He's obviously with a community of oblates. He doesn't live in the parish. He works from the parish, but he actually resides at Teatree Gully with the other oblate. So because of the community, they decided to. But currently, we're very fortunate that we have an oblate priest in the parish, or a priest full stop. So that state plan is something that's well worth looking at, and you've got Brother Don there that's really got that under control, in as much that but it's good to Peter with what's happening at Brighton Marion. That's Paul, I'm sorry. I've written over to Paul. That's great to see that you've really got that on the go. It's going to be interesting as to with Brother Michael, who's also on the membership committee, where John is the current chairman of that committee. And are there any other branches that's got that under control, as far as a membership promotion? I know Hector have had a few goes at it, and it's struggling. But,
we're in the process of organising mass presentations. We haven't quite got it together yet, but when we get it together properly, we'll do that.
That's what branch is it?
Kilburn, Cleary Kilburn.
Oh, that's good. So,
I think the secret what we couldn't get going is we did have no one to give a good presentation to talk about it, to get up and talk in front of people. I think that's it. One of the crucial barriers for a group like ours, we can talk in our local group, but to get out and talk in front of people and with knowledge, the broader knowledge that Michael's got, I think is the key to the whole process.
That's good. The obvious point there is the need to develop membership. It's not all doom and gloom, but I'm in Rotary and we struggle with membership, and retention is an important part. And also with the Knights, once you get retirement, I think it's very hard price. So that affects the bottom line. If you get life membership, you don't pay a fee at all. So that, the more life members you give, the less money you make. So again, with the branches, you need to really consider this, the management of the branch, like incoming state branch chairman. Again, I just mentioned Rotary, where I was president at one time, but for me to be president, I had to go through 5 stages of office. So it was 6 years to become president of your club, and it's not as bad as that now, and it's certainly not like that in the Knights. It's and we need to give our members like a portfolio or to be focused on. We don't focus enough on membership until Don has come up with this. Rod has brought a couple. It's one-on-one, which is so important anyway at Mass. And I'd like to see our branch be more open and welcoming people, and wear your badge at Mass and be a part of welcoming people to Mass. We've got a very big, again I'm talking about a very large Indian community, and it's interesting. Who mentioned about the Peter?
Yeah, Peter.
Peter. That's something to look at. I don't know, but we have enough to check that out and see if we can come up with something that's more meaningful. In fact, Rod is coaching a fella tonight, an Indian lad that his English isn't the best, but he's a good member. And I've asked him to present the Vinnie's wind repair. And Rod was saying this morning he's a little concerned because of his English. But the whole purpose of that was for the Indian community. You can see as one of their own is sort of involved in the Knights and with the fundraising. Again, go back to that development plan. You need to look at a program similar to what Brighton Marion are doing to really hit the masses, and with a speaker that knows the Knights, and perhaps not maybe somebody from State Council or similar to what you've done with Mike, but perhaps someone different than just an ordinary member of the parish to bring that message across.
Another way I might suggest it too is that among your membership that you have already on at the table for a meeting, if you get somebody who's younger and newer, particularly younger, let them be assistant to the secretary or to the whomever that's in their line of attack, and get them encouraged in that fashion so that they can take over when the time becomes necessary.
Well, the gentleman we've got is Fijo. And he's only, in his 30s?
He's a bit older than you think. But anyway, it doesn't matter. He's in his almost 50. Yeah, I agree. And he's got a young family though. And the fact he's going to get up tonight and speak, I think, might give us an opportunity then to pursue that and try and get some more of that nationality. And, I stand at the front door of the church and just say hello to people, and but I haven't had my name tag on, so I don't know who I am.
Yeah, but no, I enjoyed that a lot with the COVID. I was one of those marshals. Yeah. And people I got to know, people you see them, but you don't really meet them. And I enjoyed that time with the COVID.
That flag you've got in front of you there, that's a good thing to have. If Father will let you hang him in the church during Mass. It's not in front of people up there, wherever your altar may be, because it becomes a distraction. But as they're leaving the church, you should have it in a prominent position.
Yes, it's with the Mary MacKillop Cross. There's opportunities in the parishes to to follow up with membership. A lot of them would have seen the cross and the Knights logo, and Mike was going to follow up, but I failed in giving him the list of because we did, what was it? 38 parishes it went to, and every Saturday morning I'd get to work, clean the hearse because it was too big for the van, and then go to the parish, pick it up, take it to the next one. And so it went on from April to December, and finally it's at Penola, and got off track of it, but at the feast day of Mary MacKillop I attended, and the cross was there. And then as we were having a cup of tea and coffee, the Archbishop came up and he said, "Oh, David, doing well with the cross there." I said, "Yes, Your Grace, it's December, it's going to Penola, and I never want to see it again."
That was indeed right.
He chuckled a bit. But that, you know, a little thing like that, you can mention that the cross has been in this parish, and sponsored by the Knights of the Southern Cross. And if you're ever at Penola, you can go into the museum, and in the classroom where Mary MacKillop taught, it's mounted on the wall, and that's where it would stay. So that's something that you can follow through. Do you have any? I mean, today we're all about membership, and there's been that placemat, fantastic idea. In fact, I'll get some costings on those, because you can get the laminated ones, which are not expensive to produce at all, or you can get the more elaborate ones, which that's an excellent idea to promote in the house. And the same with new members. If you have a new member, what I suggest is what we do at Rotary. You visit that prospective member, and two of you go, and you meet the family, could be the spouse or the children, and you talk about the Knights, and you've got two to hit, to go with it, and that's what we do at Rotary. And it's like you might do, I mean, if your branch does that, your club, but we always send two to a prospective member, and then explain what we're all about, and then take it on from there. It's sometimes better two minds than one, and it proves reasonably successful in that way. Do you have any questions, Mike?
If I could just a point, I find that badge on Sunday morning is better than to get lost. And what I do with that is that I have a set spot on the east door of Galea Church. And I stand there and welcome people in when they come in. But also after Mass, when they're all coming out, get to that door again. And don't be frightened to say to an Indian or whatever nationality he is. I just call them my chocolate brothers, because they're all brown. And you sort of just don't be frightened to say to them, "Well, what was your name?"
And then you'll be sorry that it's right.
You know, you get the husband will give you his name, and he said, "Oh, that's my wife's son." Some of the names I can't pronounce, I'll tell that now. They're about 19 feet long.
It's rather alphabet.
You know, I used to call them Mrs. and I would like to call my mother Mrs. Woman. And that, but you don't be frightened to ever say to a person, "What was your name?" Because that way you're introducing you to him and him to you. Yeah. And that's it's a good break into the family.
Thanks, Mike. And I ask you all, please, to get a copy, and on a branch level, you could have one of your meetings to go through that over a period of time. And with the formation program, I'll just touch on that. Mike arranged a dinner with the Archbishop, attended at Marbaka, Strathallan, and
he's pushed his door open here.
and the Archbishop suggested we study Tutti. I remember that bit. Do you remember what it? Fratelli Tutti, yeah. Anyway, chapter 2, he suggested that the knights could take that on as a formation, and it's really about the what's the two on the roadway. Anyway, it's I've gone blank. Come on, help me.
It's the Good Samaritan.
The Good Samaritan, and he suggested that we look at that as a formation. So there might be some branches that would look that up, and it's very, very interesting. The document itself is too big, as the Arch said, that the Pope writes too much and too long. You know, some of the papers he writes just goes on forever. Father, you might know that.
I wonder if I could just pick up something you said there a while ago. There's two things Rob, I think, mentioned of going to hospitality and that being at the door, but I just mentioned I do that a lot. More so, being a lawyer that's there, if I don't know him, he's certainly going to. That's what he doesn't know, you know. So that's very handy. The second point, what David brought up about, you know, going to a person's home and that. In fact, something that I've applied when there is a prospective member is to invite them to my home for a cup of coffee, and I run through there what the nights are about, and just to get a feel for the way they're thinking and what the idea is of coming into the nights and that. That occurred, in fact, last Sunday, I think, wasn't it? And so I feel that's a fair way of going about it. Sorry, I'll let you.
No, it's just touching on that. It's just sorry,
David, I've got a point. How many branches actually have membership on their agenda for every month? Because I feel that a number of branches don't, and what they should be doing is each member should be reporting at that membership status who they've spoken to in the last month and who do we need to follow up. And it's just glossed over. That's the problem in a lot of branches. So each month they say, oh, you know, and it's not done.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And I really think that it should be a permanent fixture on their agenda, and probably early in the meeting, not later.
It came from somewhere. We had a meeting, and it was suggested to put membership at the very beginning of the meeting, allowing at the end and then rushing it through to close the meeting. So to bring that membership up the agenda, to spend a bit more time with that. Did you have something right? No. We just tell me time's up. So, is there no further questions? I wish you well in your membership.
Well, fair enough. Okay. This question was put to me, so Don gave me that one. Thanks, Don. And basically, how do you gauge what is success in a branch? Spiritually, or defence of the faith, the amount of volunteer work, funds raised to support Catholic or other organisations, clergy support and others. So I'd like some of your thoughts on that, because it's not an easy question.
Can I just say a couple of quick words, if that's right? I will give my apology. I do want to leave fairly shortly, but I want to say a couple of quick words. I've been waiting for Brother Pat to turn up because he's going to hold it for a little bit in my stead, even though Brother Ian next year is also involved. I belong to the Brighton, Galea, Harrow Cove, Burnell branch,
And the dilemma that we face there is that we've got Brighton, Marion, Halicote and Glenelg, and there's 6 churches involved, and there's 5 priests, and there's 2 members or 3 members that are in Halicote, there's 2 members in Marion, there's 2 in Glenelg. We've got about, close to 14 people on our books. 12 of them are senior elders who are in homes or at home and cannot use a computer. So some of the successes that I've sort of tried this year only, as I've sort of started, I've written a flyer, and I think I've sent to some of you a flyer that I've written, which has shown all the things that we've achieved in the past 3 months. And things like our social events, guest speakers, other activities that we've done. Our branch is basically made up of a lot of people, and this is where most of our membership, active membership are, people of your age, a bit older, but I think your age, have come from the men's shed. And I think half the members have all come from the men's shed by just going to the men's shed, sharing ideas, sharing thoughts. It's not a Catholic, even though it's in St Joseph's Church Brighton, it's not a religious activity. There's no religion there at all. The parish priests sometimes pop in, Father Pappas and Father Michael, they come in and say hello, but it's not a religious activity. But the membership we've drawn, all the guys are involved in the membership, but they also got involved in the nights. And so Pat can tell us a lot more about that, because he's drawn quite a few of the members. So what I'm saying is, most of our members have come not from church-going people, have come from people who are going to the men's shed, having a good social time and doing things. Those people do things like they run a columbarium, they do the garden around the church, they help the parish priest, they do all sorts of things around the parish in maintenance. I know Pat's even gone up on the roof to check out the cross and do stuff like that, which he shouldn't. Don't quote me on health and safety issues now. But what I'm saying is that that sort of involvement only happens in one particular location for us. So just very quickly, they are some of the achievements we've got. And what I've got is a lot of positive feedback from people who haven't got email. So most of the members get an email message and the rest get a hard copy message. Or literally I send them a letter which has got all the stuff in it. And I've got a lot of positive feedback from that. So I encourage you to try that. Try and send to the people who you don't normally see, send them a letter, phone them up. I've actually received 6 phone calls from those guys saying how good it is that I've got in touch with them and they're involved. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And look, I take my hat off to you and your branch, because it's just fantastic. And reading your annual report, Andy, I tell you what, that was just amazing. And anybody interested should get a copy of his annual report. It's a credit to him. And
I'll correct you, it's not an annual report, that's a bi-monthly report.
Bi-monthly?
So between the nightlights, they get that. So every month they get something.
Wow, okay. Oh, well done. All right. I suppose if we're going to gauge something though, we need to have some boundaries. I can't think of the right word, but something to gauge what we're doing on. And some branches might think about that sort of thing, others may not. And if you've got a plan and you're looking at various elements, you can talk about it at your meeting. So how are we going with X, Y and Z? But so how to gauge what you do, you need to have something to gauge it against. And I don't think anybody does anything like that. I don't know. Do you think that that's a worthwhile thing to think about?
I think there is a thing called a PI, or performance indicator, but I don't know whether that's the sort of thing that would apply in this case.
I think you've got to know the starting point and then measure off what steps you've taken or are taking and what's coming out of those steps.
Yeah.
That way you can gauge whether you're being successful or not, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, Michael.
Just one thing, Michael. You say, how do you gauge success? You gauge it by acceptance. I sort of look around Tranmere Parish, where the Knights actually extended the covered way system over there to an area now about 18 feet square, or thereabouts, probably a bit more. But in that covered way, we run morning teas, we run barbecue, sausage sizzles and that sort of thing. Now, we don't get a morning tea, thank God, that's the ladies' night. But that's come from the Knights, who brought it down from Australia College when we were closed up there. But the sausage sizzle there on a Sunday morning, and Otto will bear witness to this, that he runs it, thank God. He can cook, I can't. But when you sort of look at the crowd there, and what do you do, 100 sausages a weekend?
85.
85, that's the close to that. But there are people there, and there are a couple of kids like past me at the door of the church before the last blessing.
You're the first one out.
And you don't stand at the door because you get killed. They come in and they sort of rush out the door and rush over the auto to get their sausage. Now these are kids that are going this high. But the acceptance of the general public in that, and I said, you 80 grain high sausages a weekend, on the one weekend a month. Now there's only a small group in the parish who had sort of changed the priest, and of course the change of priests, some of their parishes have gone down to other churches too because of their relationship. But that acceptance of the coloured way to the morning tea and to the sausage soup is what I go as the success of what the Knights are doing in the parish. And it's very, very, very obvious when you sort of stand there and just look and you see, well, there's all these people standing up the coloured way, talking and chattering away, and I'm sort of multilingual. I go into all sorts of groups, and just to see that success, it gives me a sort of good feeling.
Well, let's deal with your profile, which is excellent. All right, well, I'm on a tight schedule here. Just David keeps looking at me, meaning that pull my finger out. But I suppose if we're gauging success, whatever we as a branch might think success is, planning for success. So I don't know in your branch plans if you've sat down and said, well, we want to achieve this and this year. Is that something that you might consider as the way to go about doing it? Andy? Yeah.
You've got to give yourself a plan, don't you?
Yep. Well, it's just like anything. Even if at home, if I think, well, I want to do this, and this, what my wife tells me that's what I've got to do. That's my plan that I'm doing.
Can I just come in on that?
Yeah.
Just very briefly, the plan started at the beginning of the year in our January meeting. We had a planning day, and we planned our calendar, and that was our basic plan. And when we planned that every alternate meeting is a mixed meeting where ladies and wives or partners or whatever, or whoever wants to come along. Like last week, we had a fantastic mixed meeting with Brother Pat running what he calls a crazy disc night. The previous meeting we had 3 guest speakers, Sister Rowley, two, and Blake Crawterian from the Siren Malabar group. And so every mixed meeting we've got some activity that draws people from the parish to come along. Yep. And the other normal meetings we have about 16, 17 turn just for a normal meeting. And like with this meeting, there was 50 odd people. I'm just saying that the planning happens at the beginning of the year and you plan forward. If you don't plan, you plan fail.
Yep.
Sorry, that's a teacher.
And I think in that document that David was talking about, the national program, that sort of suggests that sort of process. So that I think that's a basic start, really, for everybody. How do you market and promote what you do? Well, I just wanted to go to the next slide before we did too much. Okay. Can everybody see that all right? When I started as the branch chairman, coming from a business sort of environment, and also with Rotary and all of the issues to do with Rotary, because I was president for Strathalbyn branch, and we had issues with membership as well. But I looked at the elements or the groups of people around me, immediately around me, my immediate family, say, that I might have to deal with. And I was thinking, well, one of the most important things is, what should I do, what should I plan to involve the clergy one way or other? So that was an element, and sitting down with the branch, you know, it might be taking the priest out for tea or whatever, or getting him involved in various ways. And we're very lucky, we've been having a priest nearly every meeting, and they've been a great resource to our discussions, particularly formation. So, you know, it gives them something to do. But that's one element. Wives and partners. You know, I listened to Andy and his group, and that's something that he's doing as well. So from that, I'm suggesting in our branch we do something similar, where we have events of maybe quarterly to start off with, that involves the wives, the kids and everything else. So young guys with young families, they may feel that, hey, this is something that I can get involved with. Does that sound okay? So these are all the areas, and so part-time Catholics, Easter's and Christmas. Well, they're still Catholics, but they just don't go to church that often. Their wives tend to, more so than them. But, you know, I look at that right across the whole parish, and there's people out there that still get our bulletin, so they still need to be involved. So, you know, and there's times during Easter's and Christmas that maybe when you've got packed churches, perhaps that could be a time for the knights to spruik something somewhere. Food for thought? No. If you've got any ideas, tell me, because I'll pinch you from them. Practicing Catholics, well, they're our main source. But also, yes, Michael?
That's good as a part-time Catholics.
Yep.
What say the Knights in Mount Marcus Strathalbyn have a mass in between Christmas and Easter, by the way, and just a special mass for the families, and the Knights promote it. And you get all your members, even the part-timers who are still members of the order.
Yep.
Don't tell anybody else that. But you let them come and let them bring their families to Mass. It's just on the cards that your priest may impress them that much, that they'll come back again. And if you can impress them once, you can get them back twice.
Father Philip Marshall has every first Tuesday or every second or third Sunday. So
Third one.
Third. It's a bring a friend day. So it could be the Knights Mass, and we can put on a sausage sizzle like you guys. So yeah, why not? Good idea. But you know, in our plan, we're looking at how can we attract these guys. Parishioners is another one. How do we deal with the parishioners as knights? Parishioners talking about our wives, grandmothers, anybody, you know. parish pastoral council. I mean, most of us have either been on it or are on it or involved in some way or another in the finance committee or the PPC or whatever. But that gets us right in there. Now, I do a monthly report on the nights at our PPC meetings. So I really say to them, well, this is what we're doing. We're having a really good time. And now I've got a lot of support from the PPC every month. But, you know, how would you guys deal with your PPC at the moment? And would that be of any benefit? The parish school, that can be really important as well. I or John or whoever, every year we have awards that we've invented to give 1 year 12 and 1 year 7 every year, and they get a medallion, a certificate and a voucher at dinners. So I stand up, or John does, at year 12, and I've got 1,000 people out there. They're all dressed up and they've come, you know, to see children get awards. All sorts of awards. And so I get told, well, we've got the Knights Award now, so we come up and we give it to them, and that's all that sort of stuff as well. So, plus we're involved with the Fathering Project, and we cooked, how many sausages did we cook? Gosh,
About 1,400.
Yeah, because the school asked us to cook them, so they were really pushing the Knights because the Knights were doing this in school. So these are the different groups or markets that you could be involved with that you need to think about in your plans.
Mike, I think you might be missing one that's important, which is the wider community. So like if you look at, let's say, parish schools, there would be Catholic families who send their kids to state schools.
Yep.
So I think that's got to be considered.
Yep. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, why not? All right, so the next slide is promotions. We came up with a brochure, and there's 2 brochures. That's our one, and there's another one done by another branch. I forget which one did that, but that's more detailed. Yeah, which was really good. But we had nothing before. So now I got these, I did them myself, got them printed up locally, and then as guys are walking out, you give them to them. You know, every now and again, not all the time, but every now and again. At least you've got something. Or if people say, what are the nights all about? Well, you start off with this. And that's the sort of thing, the next one. Now, there's ours there, that pull-up banner, and that goes between the maths centres. It sits in their foyer, and it might stay there for a few weeks, then move on to the next one and so forth. So, again, we're increasing the promotion. The next one. We've got the teardrop sign, we've got a sign on our trailer, and we've got this one that we've got to find. I don't know where it is. But one of the issues that I'm pushing for at the moment is if you have a look at that logo there, over on our thing, our banner, you see the yellow Australia and the yellow stars in the middle? You can barely see them. To me, as something to promote the order, that's useless. So I use the old one, the blue one, because that shows everything. But that still doesn't really say what are the nights all about. Do we put a cross in it? Don't know. That's for you guys to think about. But to promote the order, when you have a brochure, you've got to be able to see straight away what it is. So if you have a look at our trailer, and that, you know, and that one's better, but that's pretty old. And then of course there's the website, and just for your interest, that's hopefully about to be rebuilt so it can be of a lot more use to you, potential new members, existing members, a whole range of things that's being looked at the moment. YouTube. just on YouTube, I've made up a whole lot of little movies. And there's one up here, and there's another one that's 2.5 minutes that our local priest has allowed us to, during the time at church, but notices time, we show that movie probably once every 6 weeks. And that's a little movie about the Knights, what they do, or what we do, who we are, and all that sort of stuff. So that just says it all. And that's available on YouTube. So you just go in Knights of the Southern Cross, YouTube, there it is. But there's a whole lot of other ones. And there's Victoria does lots and lots and lots of movies. So it's really worthwhile to have a look at that. Down the track, it's also going to be involved, I think, to help branches get ideas. So if you get a new guy that walks up like me, when I was told, look, you're going to be the chairman, and I thought, what do? I got no idea. Is there anything around? No, there wasn't. So I made it up as I went along. But hopefully we'll have something there that helps new members get positions and things like that. So anyway, any thoughts on any of that at all? Any comments? If there is, put your hand up, please. Okay, the next one.
Just on that, Mike, what about the one that you made up with the Archbishop in it?
We're going to see that at lunch.
All right.
When we had our luncheon at Strathalbyn, the Archbishop spent 10 minutes talking about how wonderful the Knights are. And I've got a little video showing that it'll be on there during lunchtime. So you can see what he says. It's quite interesting. Now this is another one here, Facebook. Now, you all might think, oh, Facebook, you know. Since I started the Facebook group, there's been 870,000 views. 870,000 views. And you know how much it's cost the order? Nothing. Can you put anything up there, a good news story? Yep, you just go up there and put it on. I know Andy's been putting on lots of stuff. So these are people, and what you do is in each, say in Mount Barker Strathalbyn, if I want to put up something that's relevant to our area, then I look, well, there's groups at Macclesfield, community groups. A community group at Strathalbyn, about 10 community groups at Mount Barker. There's the Facebook page of the school. There's the Facebook page of the branch. There's all those sorts of things. So in that is 34,000 contacts. In our local paper there's 7,000. So that's where we're getting good news stories. Now this is just, we're doing something at Macclesfield Math Centre for the kids, I think, at Christmas. And there's another one of the stars there. And David was great because we got lots of photos, lots of airtime showing what we do around the place. And it was great. Because I was with that, I was involved in community groups right around the state, particularly around that area where the cross is at the time. So, but that's what you've got to look at. If you need any help, give me a call and I'll help you through it.
Yeah, if this could be expanded to include Instagram and maybe TikTok as well.
It could. I've just got to work out how to use it. And I don't. I know Facebook because the grandkids taught me how to use it. All right. So we'll go to the next slide. So there you go. If you have a look there, there's the YouTube thing. That's the leading screen for the information about the Knights. And of course, another way that we promote is getting up at the pulpit and saying something. Now, a few weeks ago, I was up at the pulpit I wasn't talking about what the Knights is all about. I was talking about a number of the really good things that we were doing and things that are coming up that will involve the parish. And that's the sort of stuff that people want to hear, because their ears prick up and they think, oh, I might get involved with that. So that's possibly one of the things. Of course, if you don't show the little movie, then sure, what Michael does is gets up and explains what the Knights are all about, which helps people get it in their head. But there's another opportunity here. Okay, what's next on the thing? Right. Yeah. Another thing I've found, not only in our branch, but particularly in Rotary or any community group I've been involved with, is, and look, I'll stand corrected, or if there's any comments that anybody's got, please let me know, because as I said, I'll think your ideas. If you've got a member of your branch that's good at a particular thing, or is employed to do that job, or was employed to do that job as an accountant or whatever, then you can say to them, listen, we need a secretary, or we need a treasurer, can you please help us out? Or it's your job next year, whatever works. But if you don't get the right people to do the right things, then you might have a problem. But if you get somebody who knows what they're doing in their professional lives or whatever, they'll charge on quite often. How well does your branch relate to the parish parish priest? Oh yeah. Parish priest. To me, I think they're really important. I wanted to start a branch in a particular parish. I rang up the parish priest and he said, no, I'm not interested, I don't want the Knights here, I've got another group of men that are doing something else. And I thought, well, okay, sorry. I felt pretty, I felt a bit embarrassed, but that's all right. I mean, I was told straight out, this is it. But then I've got other branches where the parish priest is really involved and talks a lot about the Knights. I know Father Philip Marshall, our priest, he says, oh, the Knights are wonderful, they do this, they do that. People hear that, and if one of the guys might be thinking, oh, should I think about it? But I don't really understand what it's all about. That's where we sort of get involved. What's the next one? Any comments on that, by the way?
What we did up in Kadina when I was up there is we actually made the PPA an honorary night. We actually paid his subs to the state council.
Why not?
And that does encourage them to be a bit more attentive to your meetings that way.
It's probably not in the rule book, but why not?
It is.
The rules are made to be broken up.
Parish priests can join, they just can't hold office.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there you go. There you go. Why not? Yeah. What support is provided to him, e.g. parish ministries, working bees? If you look at the survey, we can say to our parish priests, look at what the Knights are doing in branches right across the state.
Yeah.
And we can say, we can say to them, we're here to help you guys. So what do we think about that? Yeah?
Yep.
How could you improve your work in your church? E.g. hospitality, greeting parishioners, getting to know parishioners and seeking their help for various tasks. Any feedback on that, please?
Actually, it's not as hard as it seems when you read that, because there are people who would prefer to be workers rather than on meetings.
Yep.
And if you can get them to help you with the likes of, we have it up there somewhere about working bees, or projects is a better word probably. And that's what we used to use anyway. And you get good half a dozen or a dozen, and not necessarily all members either.
Yep.
But there are other people from the parish.
Michael, we've got to get that type of thing out with we've talked about it for so long, we've never got anything, but we've got to hand that sort of a brochure out to the person when we are saying greetings to a parishioner,
Yep.
or wanting to seek their help.
Yep.
We've got to give them something.
Absolutely.
It's got to have a name on it, it's got to have our contact, this is the local area.
Yep.
Mm.
If you go back to our slide, that's what it's got on the last page, a contact person. And, yep.
And at Mayors, we put out the brochures, we have them in the front hall of each church, 3 seaters, and attached to the brochures is a registration form.
Ah.
Got. And
I
that
don't
gives
have
them an
that.
opportunity to, if they want to find out more about the order, or joining the order, or offering their services to provide assistance from time to time in branch activities. Now, we've had a few of those. We've got about 6 people that have registered their interest in helping from time to time.
How quick's that?
That's a start.
Can you send me a copy of that, please? Yeah.
You're not only a pretty face, are you, George?
Sorry?
You're not only a pretty face, are you?
No.
His hearing aids playing up.
Michael, yeah.
Just one thing there on that, how can you improve on your work in a church?
Yep.
When you organise a function, right, we're organising a men's dinner
Yep.
back in May this month. Now, what I intend to do one weekend is get up on a microphone and give the people in the parish a face to aim at.
Yep.
That is more important than the written thing in the book.
Well, it's a bit of everything, isn't it? Yeah.
And I found that organising busy bees, I was getting twice as many people at busy bees at families
Yep.
as they are with the current organisation for
Exactly. You've got to have that face. You're quite right. I know we've got about 3 members who can't attend branch meetings, but if there's a barbecue going or anything else, they're there. You know, like Lujo and others. You know, they're there and they're financial members. So if they say, look, I can't attend every meeting, well, you say, you can't. You know, so you've got to be a little bit open, as Stuart was saying.
We've also got some people there who actually fill in at barbecues. They're not actually knights, but they help us out, they're parishioners. And we call them friends of the knights. And they are potential members, but they're not actually members yet. So we're sort of working on them and hoping that one day maybe they might become members.
How am I going for time?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, oh, that's all right.
That's over.
Oh, thank you. Right. Oh, look, I was trying to get on time. So, yeah, the branch success, another interesting point is, I know there's one branch, and I contact them and say, hey, it's going, is there anything I can do? Is there anything you need? Is there anything you want? They've got 4 members, and they're quite happy as they are. They don't want any more. But that's them. I know that if I tried to hound them to say, you need to get more members, you need 20 members here, or da-da-da-da-da, they'll say, get stuffed.
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
Respect.
Yeah. But no, I sort of think, and I have been down there to Mass, and I've seen all of these young families at that particular Mass, and a whole bunch of guys. But there's the 4 of the knights, they don't want any more, they're quite happy as they are, leave us alone. So that's something that I've got to think about, you know. I mean, another thing that I wanted to talk about too, and that gentleman who was sitting at the end there before, and I spoke to him about it, it really hit the button, is we've got a number of our guys who are still financial, but they're getting too old to attend any Mass, any meeting I mean, but they still want to stay financial. They still want to get some correspondence or some communication with the order. And I've got one of them in a nursing home at the moment, and as a branch, we helped to get him a gopher. We get donated gophers and stuff, so we've got money thanks to a couple of branches and Southern Cross Care. Might change the batteries, they're $300 each or whatever. So we gave him a gopher, and now that gopher is able to attend Mass, and if we have a meeting in Strathalbyn, he's able to attend meetings. And he loves it. And he gets his documentation, his nightlife, and all that sort of stuff. And I go and see him every now and again, and we have a good chat. We've got a lot of those. And we shouldn't lose them, and we should maintain that sort of contact. And it's good to hear Andy having a stat as well. But there are other country branches that have closed down. And you might get a guy that's been in the Knights for 25 years. He's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours work for the order, and all of a sudden, that's it. What a kick in the guts, I reckon that would be. So I just sort of think, well, we need to perhaps look at something like that, so that these guys that have worked really hard, they still want to stay financial, but they need some respect and you know, some support, perhaps. But that's something that we're looking at as a state council.
It's a sense of belonging.
Exactly.
Michael, one thing that we found was one of our old gentlemen, you know him from this branch here, Jim Sayers.
Oh, Jim, yeah.
Yes, I think it's Jim Sayers. No, Dwyer. I'm sorry, Jim Dwyer. He enjoys to get the nightlife. He gets nightlife, but he enjoys to get the minutes, and it shows that he's an apology for the meeting, because he can't come out of the nursing home, COVID and all that sort of stuff, and he's too old anyway, and he can't even go to Mass probably. He may go to Greenacres, I'm not sure, with his daughter, but he appreciates the fact that he's recognised as an apology at each of our meetings.
Can we put Rudy in as an apology? Maybe we should.
I think we do, yeah, we do.
Oh, good. Yeah. Thank you.
Michael, with that electronic which is going to come up for nightlife, I send that out to about 18. Most of the priests that I attended with the cross get a copy of the nightlife electronically, and I think as you get that electronic version, to kick it out as many as you can of your friends or parish priests or the religious, the Josephite get it every issue. The sister down at Canova gets it as well as Peter Swan, so he's not that's the one he was referring to. Frank Gambia. I think it's important to get that up, especially now there won't be a hard copy. It'll just be that electronic version.
Which is this, sir.
Mike, I'd just like to talk on something completely opposite to what we're talking about now, is branch failure. I've come from a branch, Aberfoyle Park, that had 8 members. 3 of those members no longer worked or lived in the parish, but still attended meetings. We had a chairman who was very insular and was not prepared to do anything outside of the parish, and unfortunately because of that the branch folded. There was also elderly members, and one was suffering dementia, but they never had a plan, and it was just the meetings went from meeting to meeting to meeting with the same old agenda, and so eventually it folded, and we just need to have a branch with active members who say, oh, it's all not, it's too hard, we can't do anything. And unfortunately, you know, where you're talking about the branch with 4 members, that's happening as well.
I'm really glad you said that, because, you know, you get the same old thing. Everybody's getting too old, there's not enough guys going to Mass anymore, everybody's too busy. The Knights, nobody knows what the Knights are all about. They're a secret society of the Masonic Lodge, and the list goes on. The negativity of some branches is killing that branch. And if you haven't got the right leadership, that's another thing that can kill that branch. If you've got the right sort of leaders that are thinking ahead, okay, this is what I want to achieve, this is who I've got, this is who I can get to do stuff, and all of that sort of gear, then that's when things start to move. But if you get that negativity, and in some of the branches I've spoken to, the negativity is just, what the hell are you meeting for? Oh yeah, look, our meetings are boring, you know, we have the same old thing, and look, when I first started with the Knights, I thought, these meetings are boring, coming from Rotary, you know, and then I started to get, I really like the formation for me, I think that's important. But all of the other stuff is nuts and bolts on what we want to achieve, yes.
I think with the group with only 4 members who don't want to recruit any more members, that's a time when the state office really needs to say, no, you have to get more members, you have to pull your finger out of your arse and do what we expect you to do.
Well, that's fair comment.
You're volunteering to do it?
Well, somebody's got to do it, and it could mean the end of that branch. Or probably it's a good idea that we close that branch and think about restarting it again a bit later on. I don't know, that's something that the state, yes sir.
It's just a small factor. We have our meetings now at 4 p.m. on midweek. We used to have it in the evening, but because our group was getting older and it was winter time, it was hard to travel and things like that. If we develop and start getting new members, a lot of these new members will be working and want to go back to the evening time. So what time do you have your meetings is I think the important question that we should all look at in relation to looking at a drive for new members.
Well, we choose the day and the time and all that sort of stuff as a branch.
Because of your members and your age group, etc., we dictate where you're at. But if you try to bring in new members and say, look, we have a meeting on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, we can't get involved. They'll walk you off straight away.
Are you involving David Huppets and Frank Camporelli and all this, Michael?
I
think they want to speak.
Hey David, did you want to say something? Put your microphone on.
Yeah. Turn your hearing aid up.
Oh,
It is, yeah.
hey Gary, did you want to, oh sorry, I did Frank, did you want to say something?
No, I've been quite intent on what's been discussed amongst the different members of branches there. It's been excellent. The idea of the promos, particularly putting things on Facebook and in your local paper, that sort of thing, very important. Otherwise, we are going to fade away because people don't know we exist.
Still, I've been, what you're doing up there, I think you're doing some really, really good things, and there's been some good articles that we've been able to put up. People that have won a particular raffle, a guy wins a TV set, so we get a photo of him winning the TV set and put that up on Facebook. As this fundraiser, we had another thing at, I think it was Whyalla or Port Augusta, but they had this big thing with a number of Asian sort of people and all that sort of stuff. And it was great. I had a whole lot of photos, so I put them up on Facebook and then put it around. So, yeah, no, thanks for that, Frank. But David, what do you reckon?
I'm listening, harking back to something I heard when I was at an international conference in South Africa, and it came out that if we want to continue, we need to be vocal and visible, the 2 V's, and I reckon that's what you're sort of doing with your promotion with YouTube and Facebook and that sort of thing, and we really need to embrace that. People need to know who we are and what we stand for, and I think in some respects we need to reinvent ourselves a little bit and not just be seen as an organisation that puts on a sausage sizzle, does a raffle, donates money to give to someone else. I think there are other activities that we can be involved in. I think we can be a little bit more in promoting. We talked about objects to promote the advancement of Australia and to that sort of thing, and foster a Christian way of life. We don't do that to the wider community very well, I don't think, and I think that's something we could look at. The other thing I was thinking too, when you were sort of talking about being visible in schools, I think with our night scholarship, rather than presenting it at a Australia Day Mass, I think they should be presented at the school in front of the school assembly, so all people in that school can see that this is being presented by the Knights of the Southern Cross, regardless of where we are. And yeah, I think that we really need to be more visible, I think, and probably a little bit more vocal in some respects too. There are issues going on in the world that I think the Knights can sort of stand up and say, well, this is what we think.
All right, David, thank you very much. And
it's political.
Yeah, I know, I love that. And thanks very much, Frank. And thanks for reminding me that these guys are actually part of the meeting.
The interesting thing with us is that over the surveys that were done in parishes, per capita, the Galea Victor Harbour parish is the oldest parish in Australia, age-wise. So it's very hard for us to get young members. I'm the young kid on the block at this parish at the age of 80.
Get some more octogenarians.
Well, that's great. There's you and Sully, and I tell you, there's a lot of experience there. And when you get into the nursing home, but you still want to stay financial, you poor old thing. No, you're right. No, thanks very much for that. I appreciate that.
And I still pay myself even though I'm a life member, so.
Good on you. Yeah.
And listen, I'm going to have to go, unfortunately. I'm going to have to leave the meeting.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your comments.
Good on you, David. I'll give you a call sometime.
Can we get a copy of Stuart's talk that he gave right at the beginning?
Yes.
Yep.
That'll be really good, and perhaps even this PowerPoint that you're doing.
Yep. Okay.
That'll be great. Okay. Catch you guys.
See you. All right, my time is up.
So I'd now like to introduce Don Campbell, who will speak to us on, give us suggestions towards planning an information session. Okay, go on. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Paul, and let me thank everyone too that's taken the trouble to come here today. I've lost or it's been taken the program that I had to refer to at one point.
I've got a blank one.
There's mine just on the table.
Okay, so we're going into the home straight now, and I'm going to talk a little bit about planning an information session and what I'd like out of it. Information in, information out, is what other branches do when they're actually holding open days and that. So pull us up to talk whenever you want to. Does anyone ever prepare a plan for such activities? Or when they're going to hold an open day or an information day? Can I just suggest to you that it's a pretty handy way to go. It was said right from the start that if you need to do something, you need to really plan it. A lot of the time, of course, that can be in the head, but when you're doing something like this, it becomes a lot more organised if you can actually think about what you're going to do and what you're thinking about, put it into writing and go from there. Next one, thanks, Michael. if anyone would like a plan, a sample of a plan, I've actually brought some along. I did some recently, and I've only brought a few, but you're welcome to have them at the end of this session. And anyone else, if we haven't got enough, anyone who wants them, I did ask on the registration form, just note it there, and we'll send them out electronically. So they are there, and it mightn't be your cup of tea, you might not want to do it exactly like that, but it might give you, the whole idea of this whole thing, this session, is to, and from all of you here, is to get ideas. You can mix them up and do what works best for you. My thoughts are that if you're going to do something like that, even if your parish priest doesn't come to your meetings and that, I think it's courtesy, and he might like to be notified that you're thinking of doing something. What do you reckon, Val? Yeah, like to know, wouldn't you? So if you can start with a meeting to gain the support of the parish priest, that helps. And give him, if you've got everything on a plan about what you want to do, then you can have that written down for him to tell him exactly what's going on. So what you want to do, how you want to go about it, and why you want to go about it, and you know, it can go from there. So I said to you there's a plan here that I can give you a copy of. It's not really magic, it's something we did in our work lives, and that's, you know, if you think about what you want to do, or what you're going to do, who's going to do it is the next thing, and you need to be able to delegate wherever you possibly can, how it's going to be done, and when it's going to be done by, and you're part way there then, and then of course noting you know, as you achieve particular areas. So that's the way I work with it anyway. And it helps you to, at your meetings, to come back and say, well, hang on, we haven't done this point yet, or we haven't done that one, but we've done this one, so you can cross it off. It's been mentioned before here today, but preparing thoroughly with brochures appropriate to your branch and which provide a brief history on KSC. So we've talked about the brochures, and I particularly like that bit of having the, you know, having contact details on. We do have those on our brochures, but it's ideal and something to get in touch with you. Pardon me. I think rather than, I mean, there is a state brochure and that's been very handy in the past. Pardon me. But I do think it's got to be aligned with your own branch, and I think a lot of branches agree with that now. And the more local things that you can have in it, the more your parishioners in the church are going to relate to it. So that's my thoughts. If you have something that you don't agree with there, just tell me. We're happy to hear all ideas. Ensure you've got a document that records the names of potential future members, and I like to just have their address on it to see, you know, what suburb they're in. Believe it or not, we've got a member that's well and truly out of the way, and we were talking about this at our meeting last Tuesday night, and why is he living in another suburb. And it turns out, like he was an immigrant, that when he first came to Australia, him and his family, they lived not far from this church, when he got his own house, out quite a bit further, he really liked the church, and that's why he's here, and that's why he's in our. He still comes to Mass here, him and his family, and he gave a talk the other night at our meeting about his life prior to coming to Australia. But if you can record addresses, mobile phone numbers, it allows you to get in touch and remind them about things, particularly coming up to an open day, and an email address, and any other specific comments. And again, I think I've got that form on maybe on the back here of this. I don't, it's a plain only, but I can certainly send that to anyone who wants it. And sure, you have these available when promoting an opening day or talking to parish men. I've even heard of it, where one wife had looked at it, as I remember, and when his wife was asked would he join, she said yes, he will.
That's correct.
So there you go. Be thoroughly versed when asked a question about KSC history and what your branch does, or what KSC does. You know, I don't think it's really good when someone says, well, what do the Knights do? And they say, well, we started Southern Cross Homes. Sure we did, or the Knights did. But that's not relevant today. It's history. It's about what we're going to do, and they want to hear what's going on and what's likely to happen. So remember, you're trying to market KSC and your branch. Consider if an information session or another activity is what you want for your branch membership development. Decide how the activity will be run and add it to your plan. You can select the appropriate member to assist you, as been mentioned previously. But put all meetings before, all ideas before a meeting to benefit the outcome. In the lead up to the day of the information session or an activity, approximately 3 weeks prior, you can promote the occasion in your parish bulletin with the parish priest's approval. Talk to the men of the parish and invite them to attend the open day. I think that direct contact is very beneficial, to be honest. In the week prior to the day of the information session, promote this from the pulpit at each Mass. Have sufficient members available to record names of men after Mass and encourage them to attend. A suggestion for the information session is to provide a free barbecue, invite wives and children, use a PowerPoint session to explain the function of KSC, distribute nomination forms, invite potential members to the next meeting. Now, I'm sure at this point others have different ideas on it. Someone like to state what they do? No?
Can I just say something?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think as you were saying, you've got a plan for it, and I think the idea of having a staged promotional thing before you get up on the pulpit and promote maybe a dinner or whatever it's going to be. Perhaps that might be a good way to do it, maybe, or...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about anyone else?
I just got a thought on the talking from the pulpit. I'm just wondering whether that does achieve a lot, because normally that's done at the end of Mass, and a lot of people want to get away pretty quickly at the end of Mass. I've noticed that. So I just think the idea of having a separate information session would perhaps work a little bit better, because then, and I'll offer a free barbecue too, and then you can talk to people individually, and you can hand out flyers and brochures and meet the family, and makes it a bit more of a holistic type of thing.
I agree, and I don't think talking only from the pulpit is the only thing. The only reason you were talking from the pulpit is to promote the information day. That's not really there to, you know, to go saying what the nights do. That is for the information day.
Well, just a fellow might be able to help us share, but I was told by a priest that preaching from the lectern is for the Word of God, not for anything else. And he said to use the commentators. How does that work, Father?
Well, I'd say that is a spiritual comment which is personal. I don't think it's got anything to do with our faith or religion. Okay, I mean, okay, there's reverence at the altar, but and the place for the Word of God, but at the same time, it's not exclusive. You can preach, or you can have the Word of God anywhere as well as anywhere else. So I mean, that's his opinion. There may be a reason behind it. You never know.
Could be a bit of a historical thing too. Michael, did you raise that the other night, Tuesday night, that particular point?
No, we talked about it at Dern.
Oh, Dern Court, was it? Yeah.
Well, I know we were told when we've been trained to do this liturgy of the Word or liturgy of the Word with communion, not to lecture from, or because you usually summarise the gospel, and not to do it from the pulpit, because that's really from where the priest would do it, and you're not actually representing the priest when you're doing that. You're assisting them with it, so to speak. Yes, it's a bit of a farm words, I'd say, brother. But still, yeah.
I don't think there are many churches that have pulpits now.
No, that's true. Too hard to get
the wording put into that is purely, tongue-in-cheek type stuff. Have you had something?
Yes, we just had a crazy whisk night only last Tuesday, and we started off with about 26 people, and I thought this is not going to work too well. But we advertised it through the bulletin at church, and in the 4 parishes, Brighton, Marion, Galea and Galea. It was read out after communion, like everybody else. God gave us a voice to use, and I disagree with Father here, sorry about that. It's very important we do. And so we finished up with 44 plus helpers, so we had 50 odd people. So that turned out to be a success for the night. But that was, yes, using the forms of the proper brochure we put up in all churches, and through the mic at masses, and in the book.
Yeah, I think certainly from what you said there, what people have said today, we too here can, I mean, we do have a banner up in the porch and that sort of thing, but we could be doing some other things like meeting our brochures and putting them in the church, hanging them out and that. They're all good ideas.
I mean, John, as you know, what part of the noises we donate to charity. You know, we've got the Vinnie Winter Appeal, which is coming up. I will be presenting, with a bit of luck, to the chairman of Vinnie's tomorrow, and Mass. I'll see Father Selden tonight and ask permission to do it as at the start of the notice has been read, or just after. And I know that you're doing one at St. Bridget's on the. So that's one of the. But another thing is we've got to utilise every bit of technology that we've got within your parish. Whether it's overheads, overhead display for 3 weeks before Mass, during Mass, and people getting up and talking about it. utilise the technology.
Can I have a photo of that in 2 sentences?
You want to put it, pick it up? Yeah, no problem.
Right.
Do you want me to smile or what?
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
Mike,
Just one thing on that promotion, fair talk to church. We do ours at the same time as they do the notices at the end of Mass.
yeah,
Now, basically that's because it's before the last lesson.
yeah, exactly.
And the priest has got the council audience anyway.
Yep.
So we do ours 2 or 3 minutes to the promotion, and our crew man the doors after that with the leaders and that sort of thing.
Yep.
And 10 days later, we have a meeting where the wives and the husbands are both invited to come along. And at that meeting, we invite the wives and the husbands to ask questions. Ask they read through the ordinance and what they knew to do.
That's exactly what I'm
That way
talking about,
they're,
yeah.
they're all informed about what's going on. The wife can say yes or no, or
Yeah.
go for it.
Yep, that's exactly what I've said. So, what about, oh, Stuart, go ahead.
I think maybe 2 things would be a good idea. The first is, you're talking about brochures. It would be a really good idea if the State Council had a basic brochure that all branches could use. And
We more or less do.
yeah, well, that's
Those 2
fantastic.
We do.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
The generic, yeah.
Yeah, we do have them, but a lot of, okay, so this comes back to, you know, all different branches have a different idea with the way they go about things. Probably the majority of branches like to build a local element into it, if I can put it that way.
But they act as templates, nonetheless.
Yeah,
So the templates
should
available
be.
for branches to insert their own photographs or whatever.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And the second thing is, with the website, there should be some sort of way that you can type in your location or your postcode or something like that, and it will show you where your nearest local Knights branch is and who you can contact in terms of joining.
Have you got that, Michael? Because that's exactly what, he's the one that's doing that, so it's good.
So
The existing website is is very, very poor. It just doesn't let you do those facilities. That's why we've put in an application to Southern Cross Care for a $5,000 grant to update our website, and Mike is doing that. But one of the other things that Paul was talking about earlier was the survey that Mike has just done, and that'll be in the next Nightlife, and there's so much information in that about what the Knights do, and that I think is going to be of major benefit for every member, because they're going to be able to read that in Nightlife and say, look, this is what we do. You know, it's you know, it's only a summary of what we do, but it contains a lot of important information. And I think that it's something we're going to have to continue to do in future to maintain that profile for everybody.
Just continuing on then, thanks Ian. Who uses non-members to help them in some of their activities and that? Yeah? A fair few branches, yeah. Yeah, so do we. It's a good idea, and you know, it's the idea is either make them a Catholic or not if they are a Catholic, that sort of thing.
Yeah, talking about volunteers, we have, like Mike said, we have barbecues every fourth Sunday of the month, isn't that? And we have volunteers, and my son-in-law is one of them, right? So when one of the Knights can't make it, I'll really invite him to come. He'll come to every barbecue. And even if he can't come, well, I'll get my son to come and help, you know, with the barbecue as well. But a number of times I've asked him, why don't you join us? And join us not to Southern Cross something, but because he's a teacher and he's always busy, you know, he's a principal or half a principal, whatever he is, he says no. He won't join. He said, we'll not join. He'll come to the functions, he'll come and help. We've got other people when we have men's dinners or ladies' lunches, they'll come and help, you know, this and that, willing to help, but they won't join. They will not join. I don't know why, I don't know what to do, how to think.
Just play along with them for the time being. Just play along with them for the time being, because you can't force the issue, otherwise you'll turn them right off.
I mean, there are so many different elements that affect it these days compared to 40 and 50 years ago, and as you know, I've often heard what people were able to do. It's very different now to what it was then. You know, for example, there was a lot more Catholic men went to Mass as compared to today. There was, well, there's a lot more Catholic men then than what there is today anyway, regardless of whether they went to Mass. There wasn't near as many multicultural people in the country, and therefore, you know, language was easier and so on. I mean, there's a lot of things affecting that. But what about the government aspects, all the things surrounding it, I mean, going back to the 70s and early 80s, it was 8-hour shifts, and if you're underground, it was 7-hour shifts, wasn't it, Darren?
Yeah, 7-hour shifts.
That's what I used to do.
Broken Hill now, they're Broken Hill now, they're working 12-hour shifts and flying men in and out on a contract basis.
Yeah.
There's only one mine in Broken Hill now, Aurelia. There used to be 4 mines when I was up there years ago, with Dan up and my brothers. There used to be the North Mine, there used to be the Central Mine, which is the South Mine, and then where Don was, the zinc and Gate C. And years ago they used to mine silver, lead and zinc. But these days, it's mostly silver they're after, or copper.
Yeah.
They don't use lead so much now because you can't put lead in car batteries or pencils and stuff like that. It's more uranium or copper or silver. And they export it overseas, Japan, China, It's 12-hour shifts. So the men might work 12 days, 12 hours, they might do 60 hours a week, and they might have 2 or 3 days off. They'll fly them back to Adelaide or Danton, Port Augusta, and fly them back to Broken Hill when the shift starts.
When you mentioned the Central Mine, you're talking about the old South Mine up on the hill?
Yeah, South Mine, and then the old Crats, as you know.
Yeah.
And more of that now is all worked out.
Yeah.
It's just sort of sitting there in big slabs of...
So that's a bit of history for the meeting here. And so it's right, you know, what I'm saying is that it was much easier to get members then. We were talking, you know, about 80 odd members in Broken Hill. I'm told it was up as high as 120.
We dropping back in those days had 35,000 people in the Broken Hill. There was more men working religion Broken back then, as you said, more Catholics, United Church and other churches. So there was more, as you said, Catholic men.
Yeah.
Don, just getting back to what the gentleman over here was talking about, his son didn't want to join the Knights.
Yeah.
And he probably wouldn't want to give you a reason. There might be something, some reason why he doesn't want to give you a reason.
You just said I'm not interested.
Yeah, but we've got a case in Mount Barker where there's a gentleman there, and he would be a fantastic Knight, but he refuses to join the Knights. And I have asked him about why you don't want to join the Knights, and he traces it back to probably about almost 10 years ago. There was a particular member of the Knights who was putting a lot of pressure on him to join, and it was all the time, constant pressure, and that just turned him right off it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's where we've got to be a bit careful that when we come up with these different ideas and try to get people to join, that we don't put an undue amount of pressure on them.
Good thought.
I also think that that trying to recruit people actually have the wrong idea sometimes. Maybe we're not presenting. They think there's something that Knights can really do for him on his concept, rather than what they and Knights can be available for the Knights. You know, we've had two, or one person who I know just that they resigned from our branch for that simple reason. I think he was thinking we're expecting more that Knights could do for him, counselling wise and all that, whereas we're not in that concept.
And that's why the membership is so high in years gone by, because people, you know, are getting something out of it, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the other way, it's turning around the other way.
That's right, it's more altruistic.
You must deal within your qualifications, that's what it boils down to. Yeah.
George?
Just a thought, and I'd like to hear other members take a look, but I think our application form is outdated, it's too detailed, and I've got 2 or 3 people been sitting on them for 12 months, and I've got a feeling that there's too much effort to fill up the whole form.
They only need to fill one part in.
Yeah, we've got a more streamlined form, nothing about. We haven't really been good at.
It's going to be on the new
going
website, right? And it's a lot simpler, and people can just go in.
But we could try and update it, I think.
Yeah, we should update it. But there is a streamlined version, and we haven't really rolled it out in any way. Yeah, so we should do that. You're right, George.
Yeah. Point taken, thanks.
Don? Today, this meeting's been speaking a lot about, well, not non-Catholics, but non-practicing Catholics.
Yeah.
Do you think we're sitting too much in judgment of that situation, especially in our application forms and in the publicity that we put up there? In our, I think it's even in our
Constitution?
No, this is
Object.
Objects, yes. It says there that it's something about being a Catholic, practicing Catholic member or something.
That's the qualifications to get into the order.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
I would never ever ask somebody if they attended Mass every week or whatever it is.
No.
I don't think it's any of our business.
But we do have it in
Somebody
writing
says
somewhere.
they're Catholic, that's it.
Yeah,
Fine.
we do have it in writing somewhere. I've seen it, maybe not there. But it says practicing Catholic, and that means we're sitting in judgment.
It's in the Constitution.
That's in the nomination forms.
Oh, right, okay, that's where I saw it, isn't it?
But a person should be able to just say, I'm a Catholic.
Yeah.
They can say they're practicing or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But as long as they're Catholic, they're over 18 and they're adult.
Do you need Catholic? What about Christian?
Awkward.
Does that open up for other religions?
It would if you did that.
And is that unacceptable or acceptable?
No, it's not. It's a Catholic men's organisation.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. I mean, I can,
Just touching the idea.
No.
Yeah, sure.
It's a bit like that other idea of whether women should do.
Okay, so I'll just move on from there.
Quick question.
So we certainly use a non-Catholic. His wife goes to Mass, he comes with her, but you know, he's very good at helping us out. And I mean, he's excellent at helping us out. And we use others if they're available. What about when you are successful? If you've got, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 new members after you've done the information day, do you celebrate this by having a branch mass to follow their installation or similar? Anyone do that?
Used to.
Yeah,
we were embarrassed by the number that turned up in the end. We were embarrassed by the number that turned up to the installation in the end. So we felt it wasn't enough to justify the priest's time.
You could just do it at a normal mass. Just
Yeah,
have
yeah,
just
do
have
that.
it part of like.
I think that's better because it's then part of the community. Yes.
Well, one thing, say Dernancourt does, if I may speak about them, they every year when, and we do it too, when we after we had the AGM, we actually talked to the parish priest about at the Mass, can we be part of that and do the installation in front of them, and so it's all promotion, and that occurs. So a similar thing. Right, that's my bit. What about other suggestions? Is there anything else for that we could use that could help anyone?
Don, does that national
meeting
plan booklet, does that have any help on it? Does that have any
The Order
help?
Development Manual.
Thank you, yes.
So if anyone, I have asked these be sent out before, and I'm sure they have been sent, but if anyone would like a copy, well, we can get it to you. Will you just write it down near your registration up there, please, Paul?
No problem.
Because it's pretty important information in there. You might use it all, but again, it reflects ideas that could be very helpful.
Just one other little thing there, Don. It's all about needs. We need new members, but maybe we should be flipping it around. The new members need us. And I think that if we could do it that way, we're promoting in such a way that people, men in particular, need to come to us. They will benefit if they come to us. So we're flipping the needs around from what we need to what they need. Just a little thing, but I think that
That's
might make a
almost going
difference.
from a half empty glass to a half full glass. Good idea.
What's
It's just
the
saying,
example
Don,
you're
that
talking about there?
that's going from, we at the moment, we're probably a glass half empty, the way we're approaching things. And what this gentleman's just suggested, swing us around to a glass half full, which is what we need to be. That's the positive side of it.
Yeah.
How you promote it, I'm not sure.
I agree with what you're saying. Part of marketing is what can we do for them? But there's got to be a balance in that too. For example, I've heard it said, well, do we provide scholarships and that to put people through uni? But and the sole purpose seemed to be that we were going to provide financial support in that. I don't believe we can do that. We don't have the finance to do that, but I've also seen it in recent times, very recent times, where the cost of living hasn't helped one little bit, as you all know. And one of our members was actually told that he was given a month's notice to get out of his house. Now that was pretty distressing for their family, and I believe that our branch, through myself in fact, and notifying others and trying to get help for him, we bent over backwards trying to help him. And in the finish, just as we thought we were winning, something come up for him anyway, and he did get another place. But he ended up having to, I think his rent went up something like about $500 a month. Now, that shows you how bad things are for some people today. Look, I think I'll leave it there without anyone's got any questions. Hand back to Paul.
And thanks everybody for coming up today, giving up your Saturday. I think it's been very helpful to hear the different views and some good ideas there that we'll certainly look at, and some we can implement straight away and others we'll have a look at. So thanks again everybody. So I'll just do ask Father Leon to come up and do the closing prayers for us, and then we'll have lunch. And just before you come up, Leon, Mike.
Can you give a thanks to Don and her?
Oh yes, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Particularly thanks to the Kilburn branch, Community Kilburn branch, I know I am. Don in particular, and Peter is still sorting it out. Thanks very much for that. Giving us this facility at quite short notice in the way things worked out.
And if I could just mention Michael, it was really went good in preparing this.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah.
Coming down for a sandwich, Frank?
Okay, I'll leave you, Frank. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, Frank. Good.
Bye all.
All right, so I just been asked to lead the closing prayers. So let's join in the prayers. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. The night's prayer, we say.
God bless us all, bless all our activities as far as